Hello and welcome to a new video, Islam versus the Bible being a wife. Uh, in Surah 4, Surah An-Nisa, verse 34, it says, وَاللَّاتِي تَخَافُونَ نُشُوزَهُنَّ فَعِظُوهُنَّ وَاهْجُرُوهُنَّ فِي الْمَضَاجِعِ وَاضْرِبُوهُنَّ. It says that those women whom you fear will be disobedient, admonish them, leave them alone in the sleeping places, and beat them. You can check the verse in Arabic and you can check it in many other translations. So, a man can abandon his wife in bed. Can the woman do the same? Can she use sex as a weapon against her husband? Well, the answer, according to Islam, is no. That's what's mentioned in Sahih al-Bukhari. The Prophet said, if a man invites his wife to sleep with him and she refuses to come to him, then the angels send their curses on her till the morning. So no, she cannot do this. The angels will keep cursing her till the morning. There's another hadith narrated right after that one. It says, if a woman spends the night deserting her husband's bed, then the angels send their curses on her till she comes back. So they will keep cursing her either till next morning or till she sleeps with him again, and you don't know when that would happen. Uh, well, what does the Bible say about this same issue? It says in 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 4, 5, and 6, the wife has not power over her own body but the husband, and likewise also the husband has not power over his own body but the wife. Defraud you not one the other, except it be by consent for a season, that you may give yourselves unto prayer, and may be together again, that Satan tempt you not because of your incontinency. But I say this by way of concession, not commandment. So what he's saying is, first of all, the man, like the woman, cannot abandon her in bed. No one can abandon the other one in bed, not the woman and not the man. The other thing that he's saying is, well, if you do this, then Satan will tempt you into fornication. So basically, do not lead the other party into temptation, which is what Islam is asking the husband to do to his wife. He's saying that you can abstain from sleeping together for some time to have time for prayer or fasting, but even that I say as a concession, not as a commandment. Uh, let's go back to another aspect of the verse that we read in Surah An-Nisa, verse 4. When he says, وَضْرِبُوهُنَّ, and beat them, let me assert this. It is mentioned in Hadith more than one time that you should not beat the woman severely or in her face. However, the verse is talking here about beating being a last resort. So it must be severe enough to achieve a goal that admonishing has not achieved, and that sex as a weapon has not achieved either. So this must be severe enough. The other thing is, the moral effect of beating, or of beating just being allowed, not it actually happening, is terrorizing the woman, which again the Bible says should not happen. Let's examine another passage from the Bible. It says, for after this manner aforementioned, the holy women also who hoped in God adorned themselves, being in subjection to their own husband, as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose children you now are, if you do well and are not put in fear by any terror. So the scriptures clearly teach that women should be in subjection to their husband to be pleasing to God, but not out of fear or any kind of terror, which would happen if the husband is allowed to beat his wife. Verse 7 is talking to husbands. It says, "You husbands in like manner dwell with your wives according to knowledge, the understanding of your wife. Give honor unto the woman as unto the weaker vessel, as being joint heirs of the grace of life, to the end that your prayers be not hindered." So what he's saying here is that you should be understanding of your wife. You should give honor unto women as the weaker vessel. It is not that since she's the weaker vessel, then you can beat her up. And he's saying that if you are not understanding of your wife as the weaker vessel, your prayers will be hindered. He's talking to the husband. The thing is, in Islam, that's not the way. The way is, if she is not pleasing to him, then angels curse her. But if he is not pleasing to her, well, nothing happens. So, another thing is that, is she a property? Well, obviously that's what's being told. Like in Sahih al-Bukhari, it says that the Prophet introduced two guys to each other. One was an immigrant, a new immigrant to the city. And that's what the person who was a resident into Medina told the new immigrant. He told him, Al-Ansari had two wives. Al-Ansari is the guy who was resident of the city. He said, well, he suggested that Abdurrahman take half his wives and property. Abdurrahman replied, "May Allah bless you with your wives and property." So he refused the offer. But he was offered a wife by her husband. And the hadith is actually listed under this category. Stories about a man telling another man, "See which one of my wives you want, I'll give her to you." So she's a property. He can give her away just like that. And that's so strange. He basically owns her. So I don't know what that is. Another thing that shows where a woman stands from her husband in Islam is this hadith, and it's narrated more than one time by different stories. Basically, there was a guy who was in parts of Middle East, like Arabia and Syria, and then he came back to Mecca, and there he saw Christians kneeling down before popes and before bishops, and he came back and told the Prophet of Islam, well, they're kneeling down before their popes and bishops, so I thought, well, we should do this to you. So the Prophet of Islam, being right on point, told him, no, you should not kneel down before a man. And if I were to order a man to kneel down in worship before another man, I would order the wife to kneel down before her husband. For if the husband asks the wife to have sex with him and she was on a camel's back, she should still come down from the camel's back to have sex with him. Again, it's all about sex. So the translation would be like this: if I were to command somebody to kneel down in worship, I would command the woman to do it for her husband. I swear to him who has my soul by his hand, that is, to Allah, God, that woman does not fulfill her duties to Allah if she doesn't fulfill her duties to her husband. Even to the extent that if he asks her for sex, she should not deny him that, even if she was on a camel's back. So what's lacking here? What's lacking here is, I do not see the word love. I do not see a commandment asking the husband to love his wife, or a commandment basically asking the wife to love her husband. So in Ephesians 5:25, I find that in the Bible. Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself up for it. Colossians 3:19, husbands, love your wives and be not bitter against them. So that's what I find lacking in Islam. I do not find anything that tells the husband to love his wife. Thanks for listening.